We dodged a bullet as Ohio State gets the #1 recruit we are after, and we are right in the middle of the craziest national signing day story of the past 5 years, and we got to break it all down. What's up, guys? I'm Matt Long. Welcome to Columbus Football 365. If you're an Ohio State football fan, please hit that subscribe button. Only 5.9% of viewers are subscribed to the channel, but let's jump right into the video for today. Coming from ESPN, Chris Henry Jr., a 6'5", 205-pound wide receiver from California powerhouse Mater Dei High School, is ESPN's #1 wide receiver in 2026. Sources said Henry's camp held talks with multiple programs this week, including Ohio State, Oregon, Texas, and LSU, before he announced his intention to sign with the Buckeyes during an appearance on the Pat McAfee show on Friday. So, the #1 guy that we've been going after, Chris Henry Jr., finally comes out and announces for sure he's going to be signing with Ohio State. There was a little bit of questions whether or not it was going to be us or it was going to be Oregon. They were making a big push. They wanted to pair him with DeCorian Moore, their other 5-star wide receiver that they are rolling out there. That's assuming Evan Stewart goes to the draft. But Ohio State, we get our guy. It is very important because we can continue the legacy of pushing out top wide receivers through the program and sending them on to the NFL. A quote from Chris Henry Jr., he said, "For me, it was really just about being at a place where I could feel comfortable. It was never really about the money. I was getting tons of offers from other places, but ultimately for me, it was just a place I feel comfortable about being developed and reaching my goal, which is ultimately to be a first-round pick." Now, if you want to be a first-round pick in the NFL, Ohio State, especially if you're a wide receiver, Ohio State is the best place to start. We've been pumping out first-round pick wide receivers over the past couple of years. Emeka Egbuka, Marvin Harrison Jr., Garrett Wilson, Jason, Chris Olave, so many guys. Now, you may argue that Brian Hartline was the #1 reason why a lot of these guys were going pro. Just because you're a high-level recruit doesn't confirm that you're going to be a first-round NFL pick. So, players, they come in and they understand that they need to put the work in and they need to pair themselves with a coach that knows what he's doing development-wise, and that's what Brian Hartline brought to the table. An ex-NFL wide receiver himself, he knew what it took to get to the next level, and one of the things that Hartline really talked about was being a blocker as well as just a wide receiver, so he knows how to develop guys. When Brian Hartline, the news was announced just hours before Chris Henry Jr. was supposed to sign with the Buckeyes on Tuesday, Brian Hartline, it was announced that he was going to USF to be the head coach. That gave Chris Henry Jr. cause to pause. You can't blame him for taking a second just to reconsider all of his options. I mean, it's just 2 days. He can go out and make sure that he is looking at all his options clearly, make sure he's making the right decision for himself and his future. It's a really big decision and something that if you have any doubts at all, you should not be making the decision. You should be waiting, and he had time to wait. There was no reason for him to sign immediately as soon as he was eligible to sign. It makes more sense to do what he did and take a better look at everything that is going on. I really think he made the right decision of coming to Ohio State even without Brian Hartline here because like Ryan Day told him on the phone, it's not just Brian Hartline that is developing receivers here and developing players. It's the entire culture of Ohio State. It's also the alumni network. There are so many connections that players at Ohio State have to help them become the best versions of themselves and be great at the next level. But the first thing they need to bring to the table is talent, and Chris Henry Jr., of course, has a ton of talent. Coming from 24/7 Sports, he's currently a 5-star rated recruit, rated a 98 out of 100, the #3 wide receiver in the country and the #2 wide receiver in the state of California. He's currently attending Mater Dei High School in California, but he is an Ohio kid, grew up in Ohio, watching the Ohio State Buckeyes, you would assume, and he is proud to be an Ohio State Buckeye, even if Brian Hartline is not going to be there. I'm sure he's still going to have a fantastic career for the Buckeyes, and I can't wait to see what we can do for Chris Henry Jr., what he can do for us. I cannot wait to see how this relationship works out. But speaking of relationships, there's a insane story. There's another, I can't call him an Ohio State recruit. He's currently a high school recruit, trying to figure out where he's going to go. His name is Legend Bey. He is currently committed to the University of Tennessee. However, he was committed to Tennessee a couple months ago, decommitted, recommitted, or decommitted from Tennessee, committed to Ohio State, and now on National Signing Day has flipped from Ohio State back to Tennessee. So now, if this player, it just sounds like normal recruiting stuff, he has his own decisions. Guys can go in the NIL portal. There's not as much loyalty. Guys can go wherever they want. So why is this the craziest story? Why is this the craziest story of the last 5 years? Now, Legend Bey currently plays quarterback in high school, but he's at the next level as an athlete. There's a crazy story behind this, and I have a quote here from 11 Warriors to help me explain what exactly is going on here. According to Rivals Keegan Pope, sources close to the situation have cast doubt on whether it was Bey or someone else who signed the paperwork that was ultimately sent to Tennessee. Because Bey is currently only 17, he needed a parent or guardian signature to submit his final financial aid agreement. Bey turns 18 on December 24th, and could seek a release from his agreement with the Volunteers at that time. Bey also has the option of entering the transfer portal when it opens in January. So, and Legend Bey also goes on Twitter and tweets this out. He said, "Good afternoon. I was recently logged out of my Instagram and will probably be logged out of this account later as well, or by my older brother who has access to this account because I won't sign to the school that him and my mother wants." Absolutely insane. What we are gathering from all this information that is out there is Legend Bey wants to join the Ohio State Buckeyes, but his mom doesn't want him going to Ohio State and will not sign the paperwork to get him to Ohio State, and he's not old enough to sign it for himself. Absolutely insane story. I don't know. I would never call someone like a bad parent, but like there has to be, maybe there's more to the story. Maybe there's more to the story. I know people remember that old clip of the guy who committed to Florida and his mom gets up and walks out of the room, and originally everyone's calling her, "Oh, she's such a bad mother. She's such a bad mother." But then it comes out later that the player had gang ties in Florida, and that's why he wanted to go to Florida, and his mom wanted him to go somewhere else to get away from all that. So it's not confirmed that his mom is actually, doing anything wrong here, but this is a crazy situation. From what we're hearing, it does sound like it sounds like it's not a Florida type situation like with that other player. It really does seem like the mom is just, for whatever reason, not doing it. And coming from Ishmael Johnson on Twitter, Legend Bey is still go Bucks, aka still wants to go to the Buckeyes, even with the Brian Hartline hiring at USF. And someone asked Legend Bey about Ryan Day, and he said, "That's my guy." So there's just way more questions than answers. I've never even heard of anything like the situation. Something that's absolutely insane. I hope that he ends up at the school that is the best for him, and whatever the right situation is for him. So whether or not his mom is holding him back from, him making a mistake that we don't know all the information, which is still a very possible thing that could be going on, but we're going to have to see what is going on with the situation, because that's absolutely insane. And the final thing here, just for his 24/7 Sports profile, currently a 4-star recruit, rated in 93 overall, the number 7 athlete in the country, meaning they don't know what position he's going to play at the next college, at the college level. It's going to be somewhere on the offense, running back, wide receiver, wherever he fits in, wherever Josh Heupel or Ryan Day decide that he's going to be fitting in, that's where he's going to fit in. But had to bring the story up because this is absolutely crazy. I've never heard anything like it. But if you stuck around this long in the video, please first of all, thank you for watching if you stuck around this long, but please hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and go Buckeyes.